I guess this means I've lived to play another inning. La 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 la. They tried to slap that look right off my face, but I'm still grinning. And the money ain't run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was, am and will be continuing, and the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Saturday night. My name's John Zindel. I am joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
John, last week's SmackDown was perhaps a bump in the road on WrestleMania. Was this week's any better? On that note, don't bury the lead. John, what's our top story for SmackDown April 4th, 2025?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead, again, is another main event talking segment where CM Punk, or I should say Roman Reigns, comes out with Paul Heyman. Then Seth Rollins comes out. And we're in Chicago, and CM Punk comes out. They have a big exchange about their triple threat. And the big question, what is the favor? What is the favor? And CM Punk talks about Paul Heyman being in his corner for the triple threat rather than being in Roman Reigns' corner. Roman Reigns says, no, that's silly, blah, blah, blah. And essentially they get to the point where Paul Heyman does not commit to the corner of Roman Reigns, and CM Punk hits him with a microphone and end scene. We had a lot more going on, but I wanted to give a high-level overview of what the question was and what the answer was based off the thumbnail. Dom, what'd you think of this main event talking segment?
I thought it was fun. All four guys involved in it did a really good job. Seth Rollins especially. We'll get to him. He was a background performer for this bit. It was really Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk and the controversy. This goes back to Survivor Series when Roman Reigns' original Bloodline needed a fifth member for their team. And so Paul Heyman called in a favor with CM Punk. And CM Punk said, okay, but you owe me a favor. I'll do this, but you owe me a favor. And so for months, it's been, what's the favor? What's the favor? And CM Punk finally revealed tonight, after not revealing it earlier in the show when Paul Heyman asked at the opening segment, CM Punk comes out last and says, the favor is I want you, my best friend, Paul Heyman. And they went over some of their history going all the way back to, I believe they were talking about Memphis, Tennessee. And what was going on there. Hey, good morning, Fixer, over there in the UK.
Morning, Fixer.
And the reveal was, I don't know if people are going to say this was underwhelming or not, but the reveal is basically CM Punk wants Paul Heyman in his corner. And, it wasn't, I want a title shot. It wasn't anything like that. And it wasn't even, I want to main event WrestleMania. That was taken care of elsewhere.
Yeah.
It was, I just, maybe just trying to get in Roman Reigns' head. I want you in my corner. And when CM Punk, when he reveals that's the favor, Roman just looks at him and then starts laughing. It's like, that's the favor? And goes through how, he rescued Paul Heyman and tells Paul, let this fool down easy. And that's when Paul says, I can't. I made a promise. So Paul Heyman, for all of his tactics, his word is good. He made a promise to his friend CM Punk. He's got to keep it. And as Roman Reigns goes to back Paul Heyman into a corner, CM Punk attacks him from behind, eventually hits him with the go to sleep. And the guy who I said stole the show was Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins not only was cackling at the two of them as CM Punk and Roman Reigns start going after each other. Every now and then they would pan out to the wide shot. and there's Seth Rollins in the background against the rope, just doing that Seth Rollins cackle, not on the microphone, but you can hear it. You can hear it even when he's not on the microphone. The Seth Rollins cackle laugh, pointing at them, screaming, "I told you so! I told you!" And it's just, Seth Rollins made it to me. If Seth Rollins is not out there, this is not nearly as good.
Yeah, the laughing of Seth Rollins at them, because it's such a heel move, right? When someone is being argumentative all the time and then they're right and then they're rubbing it in. Like there's nothing more heel than, "Oh, well, I understood your point, and I might think it might be this way, and I hope you're right." No, it's like, "No, I was right the whole time and you were wrong. Ha ha ha."
Yes.
That is the vibe that Seth Rollins was giving off. But yeah, it looks like Paul Heyman will be in CM Punk's corner, or will be, or won't be. I don't really know that the answer was super clear, because it did seem like he's kind of like, "Oh, we won't be in his corner," or I mean, excuse me. It seems like, "Hey, I can't commit to being in your corner, definitely, but I also need to, like, I owe him this promise, but I'm your friend." So I don't think it was definitive with the answer there and what we're gonna have in WrestleMania.
Yeah, Paul Heyman is crying as the show goes off the air. Like he gets out of the ring as soon as CM Punk hits Roman Reigns, and now he's free from Roman's clutches in the corner. And Paul just, he's kneeling on the apron. He looks like he's sobbing, it's this great picture, Paul Heyman sobbing on his knees, Seth Rollins cackling and pointing while he's standing up against the ropes, and CM Punk hitting Roman Reigns with a go to sleep.
Yeah, Paul Heyman crying, and Roman Reigns even called it out. He's like, "Are you crying?"
Yes.
And I like that a little bit, because he has been leaning on him crying a little bit more than I'd like to see in pro wrestling, which is like more than one time in a career. I'm like, okay, let's not do the waterworks all the time. He's like, but I love the way that Roman played it off. It's funny you said you don't really like Seth Rollins in this one. I actually really liked Roman Reigns a lot.
Okay.
I want to give him a lot of credit.
He carried most of it, right? He shows up first, does a lot of the talking. So where were you going with that? Yes.
He's I loved him going into Chicago and as a face, but he's gonna get booed because he's in Chicago. He goes, "Oh, I get the CM Punk thing. He's from the same city as me. I have to like him. Yay!" And I was like, perfect.
Yes.
Go after the crowd a little bit, and then also point out how why is it always you have to like this person because they're from your city, you know? So I loved that from Roman Reigns. And then he started to get the crowd on his side when he trashed them, which is interesting. They started to chant for him rather than CM Punk, like OTC or whatever. So he got them on their side by insulting them, which is an interesting way to someone's heart. But I also thought I noticed some things too about this specific show, that some of the European vibe kind of traveled over into this crowd.
Yes.
They were chanting Roman Reigns like the Cody Rhodes chant, but Roman Reigns like that.
Yeah, the soccer chant that they do all the time. It's a 3-syllable thing. Like you've mentioned the 3 syllables for WWE guys. It's perfect. Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. 3 baby faces. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. 3 baby faces. They don't like each other.
Yeah.
Because baby faces apparently never like each other.
Yes, that's true. They never work together well in teams. For whatever reason, baby faces never, ever, ever can work together with another teammate.
Yes.
But heels who are evil, horrible, terrible to get along with anyone, except for when they're in a heel stable together.
Yes.
Then they can do these amazing double teams. We even see it with the tag teams, right? When they cut the corner, when they cut the ring off and they're going back and forth. That's just good double teams, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't that? But I digress.
The untrustworthy heels make wonderful teammates.
I got one from the Fixer here.
I think Rollins gets away with it because he and Roman have been against each other since Rollins ended the Shield. Yeah. There's animosity there. You're right. I think one of the great things WWE has done is that these guys are all baby faces for different reasons. Roman Reigns is the guy who finally won over the crowd after they stopped with the Superman push.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he finally turned into the tribal chief and eventually won over the crowd that way. Like they just liked his presence. Seth Rollins has always been the workhorse at the top of the card.
Yeah.
And he's just too flamboyant, too colorful, too fantastic when he works in the ring to get booed for very long.
The theme
And
song
CM
is Sing Song.
Yes,
too.
he's got the sing-songy thing as well, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about sing-alongs, CM Punk, they brought back Cult of Personality. There's still sort of I guess some of the new car smell is there with CM Punk. Part of it is also the booking. They've made sure that he's been booked as a babyface, like Drew McIntyre was this vicious heel in that feud. So they've done a good job. Like Punk is the returning, in a sense, the guy who trashed the place and then like repented and came back. Almost like the prodigal son motif.
Yes.
Punk is that. Like Punk is the hero story of the guy who left for the wrong reasons or maybe even the right reasons, but then matured and came back. So each of these guys is as a character is liked for the same reason. I used to tell this to you back when we did NJCW. Indie wrestling alert. Indie wrestling alert. Yes, when we did New Jersey Championship Wrestling, I used to tell you that I liked the Bonsall Street Bomber because he was a different kind of heel than, say, the Pine Baron William Leeds. Okay, or Diamond Earl Scruggs. Right? Like there was the heel that thought he was better than everybody because everybody was poor. Then there was the heel that thought he was better than everybody because everybody was weak.
Yeah.
And then there was the Bonsall Street Bomber who was just resentful of everybody. Like he was insecure, but expressed it as like aggressiveness.
Yes.
Like as soon as someone would like cheer a little bit for the Bonsall Street Bomber, the Bomber's like, "Shut up! You don't really mean it." You know, like it's something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
you got
I
it.
was a champion before the Eagles were, even though we're in the Philadelphia metro area. Like so there were heels for different reasons. You've got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. They are baby faces, but for different reasons. They're not cookie cutter clones. They're not, all fractals of the same, source. They're baby faces for different reasons, different character traits. And so I think that's why this WrestleMania main event is working, because it's not cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm happy that you pointed out some of the indie stuff and that you picked up on some of the layers that we had baked into the Bonsall Street Bomber persona. But yeah,
I was Doc Lester. I had to.
You almost kind of.
I'm the broadcast journalist. I have to know my subject matter.
Yeah. The funny thing with the Bonsall Street Bomber, I know I am burying the lead here, but
No.
the Bonsall
Street Bomber is always the lead.
I would take from real life people that I met that were horrible. I would take like bits and pieces from them. So I had like a landlord that was just horrible landlord, and he would never fix anything. He'd make like lots of excuses, and like little bits, things that he would say to me, I would take from him.
Okay.
There was a guy, that used to live on a couch in a place when I rented from there, and it was like my buddy's friend. He lived on the couch, and he had a bit of a drug problem, so he was always just like making excuses for things.
Yes.
Oh, like I just give me another shot, or my wife just kicked me out, and I just need a chance. And that was like a serious situation I went through, and I was like, oh, this is perfect for a heel, like the guy that keeps making excuses, but being a nuisance to you. So yeah, that was really
you pull real life character traits.
Yeah, so then I'd be like, oh man, this guy's terrible. I need to build that into the character. I lived in a very Irish, Polish area of South or in Philadelphia at the time, so I was picking a lot of like some stereotypes too. There was a lot of booze, so I could take it from the locals there and then add it into the, into the character. But
WWE does that all the time. In fact, we'll get to a little of that, I think, a little bit later when we talk about a promo segment featuring a title match. But yeah, that for me is the lead. Did you want to say anything about this? What is now a WrestleMania main event? Is it worthy of WrestleMania main event? There are no belts involved, no titles, no number one contendership. Worthy of a main event? I think so.
Yeah, and it's built up, and it's got that great modern style, like Paul Heyman spin, where you don't know which side he's going to choose during the match and so they have the big super storyline thing involved with the triple threat.
Yes.
It's a lot going on. You're going to have a triple threat and you're going to have Heyman involved. So it's a lot. I don't know how they're going to spin it. And, I think it's the fun of it, right? That's why it makes it a worthy main event, where the other one feels like a foregone conclusion. Although I've said this before with Cody Rhodes and Cena, it feels like, Cena's going to go over Cody.
We will see, right? We're 16 minutes into Don't Bury the Lead. We haven't talked about any wrestling yet.
Let's go to the follow here.
Let's say we are into the follow. That was the lead. Here's the follow. What's next up? What is like lead 1B?
Yeah, so maybe we could just talk about probably the more impactful match here. We have Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman, and the winner gets a shot at the U.S. title. They have been feuding. They've been setting up this feud for a while with Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. It is a lot of brawling, a lot of weapons. It's an Iron Man match, and Jacob Fatu wins it. And I said in the style of Rocky II finish.
There you go.
Yeah, so Jacob Fatu knocks off Braun Strowman. Dom, what'd you think of this Iron Man match for the number one contender of the U.S. title?
Great blow-off match. I'm almost surprised that they put it onto SmackDown. Gave it to us on TV there. Not on a Saturday night's main event even. Not on a premium live event either. Last man standing, no pinfalls, no submissions, no countouts. Just, whoever can't answer the 10 count. They did a few really cool moves here. Both men are down after a Strowman Express on the outside drives Jacob and himself through the ringside barricade. Both men get up on 9. They go to commercial. Little later, they're fighting out into the arena area. Braun suplexes Jacob off of an equipment case through some tables that were set up. And again, both get up at 9. Back in the ring, Jacob hits a hip charge into the corner, but against the table that was set up in the corner. Shatters the table. It folds over on top of both of them. And they're both there. As you said, Jacob Fatu gets up at 9. Braun Strowman is maybe a beat or two late because the table is folded over on top of him, they were saying. So Jacob Fatu wins. Went about 8.5 minutes of TV time plus the commercial. So in that 12 or 13 minute range. I thought this was a fantastic match, especially with the last man standing rules and how they were able to do it. Some guys got a little color the hard way. You can usually tell when it's color the hard way because it's not so clean right across the forehead.
I love it the hard way like that,
right,
too.
Guy bleeding off the Braun Strowman or his back near his shoulder blade.
Yeah.
Probably from going through the tables on the suplex out in the equipment area.
Yeah.
So a fun match, a great stipulation involved. And really some intrigue here because they're still trying to make Jacob Fatu a heel, and I don't know if the crowd will go for it. Now, when he's up against LA Knight, will the crowd finally lay into Jacob Fatu as a heel and accept him as a heel, or will that become babyface versus babyface for a title belt at WrestleMania? What say you?
I think that LA Knight's so over as a face that they're going to be rooting for him. But yeah, it's going to be kind of face versus tweener. I got another one here for the fixer before I go into mine.
Roman versus Rollins, night 1 or night 2, do you think? Oh, that's a good question. I think there's got to be Cena Cody Rhodes has to finish it on Sunday night, right?
Yeah. I think the real main event is Sunday night,
Yeah.
and it's always been that way. It is kind of funny that they keep talking about CM Punk and how he gets the main event at WrestleMania. He probably would have main evented at WrestleMania if it was the same format that it is this year, where they
Yes.
have 2 nights. So there's
Yes.
2 main events.
Yep.
So, it's really like, yeah, I guess you're technically in one of the main events, but ultimately everyone's going to be paying attention to the Sunday night one. And I had some notes, from this match. Totally loved the hard way blade, and I should say there's no blade because he's actually just bleeding from his shoulder, which makes way more sense.
Right.
The blade through the forehead, when they're like blading, and then they're like, and they didn't even, you didn't even really get hit in the face, but then they're suddenly pouring blood from their face. It's always like insane. And if you ever even really see like a real fight, it's usually from like their lip or their nose.
Yep.
It's not like from their forehead.
Right.
But yeah, so anyways, the real hard way cut I liked. That was part of like the suplex through the table, which is cool. And then I mentioned here, people love the table whenever they pull that out, and the crowd went crazy for it. They went crazy for the 10 count because they get to count along, and that was you're right. I said Iron Man. It's the
Last man standing.
Last man standing.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah. But they did the exact Rocky 2 finish where Stallone and Apollo are both climbing up, and they're both going to stand, and Apollo just kind of topples down, and Stallone stands up.
Yep.
Balboa, rather, stands up straight, and it's like, oh, yeah, he wins the title. So they just... What better, I don't blame you at all for pulling from a movie from the late 70s, early 80s that was a classic.
Yep. And it makes sense, too, because, Braun Strowman, he's never lost the last man standing match until now. So it's better that he wasn't just like out cold and Jacob Fatu just stood up. It was a brutal shot through a table. Both guys were having trouble, and Braun Strowman was just a little bit late.
I like the last man standing match. I don't think I've seen one of these in years. I can't even really remember the last time I've even seen one.
Yeah, especially on TV like this.
Yeah, so they gave
I liked it.
Yeah, they gave you a lot for sure. I was shocked when they were like announced it. It was like, oh wow, we're actually getting a good one tonight. So could have easily been the lead, quite frankly, that match. But
yeah, it was a good match.
Segment.
Well, what else do you like? Is there another match? We've mentioned LA Knight. He was on the card wrestling, and we've mentioned a few other folks. Where do you want to go next?
I think I want to go to a premiere of a guy that I'm pretty familiar with.
Okay.
We have Rey Fénix debuting from AEW. He was part of the Lucha Bros, but
with
Rey
Penta,
Fénix,
right?
With Penta, yeah.
Who's on Raw, so they're keeping them apart for the time being, right? Penta's on Raw.
I think there was some contract stuff where Fénix was stuck in AEW.
Yes.
Penta got brought over, and then Fénix came a little bit later. They'll merge them, and then they'll be the Lucha Bros eventually.
At some point, right?
But both are good singles wrestlers too. They're both good wrestlers. Rey Fénix debuts against Frazier is his last name.
Nathan Frazier. He's an NXT guy. He's the tag team partner, apparently, of the guy who wrestled Gunther in Spain.
Okay, so they're like the top jobbing guys.
They're guys from NXT who are exciting, and yeah, they brought him up just to job, like give you a taste of the main roster, but you're not going to win.
Yeah, which has got to be a big thrill for them in Chicago.
Sure.
It was a little dodgy in the beginning of the match. Really bad botched dive from Frazier. I mean, fell flat on his face. Top Dollar-esque, where he just did. They couldn't even sell it because he missed the dive so badly.
He dove through the middle and top rope, right? And it looked like his foot caught the rope as he went through and just kind of stopped him.
Yeah, and that happened.
So he got almost completely through the ropes, and then that toe just nailed him. Yes, it was not a good look. There was another sort of looking weird move here or there. I know what you're saying though. Like you mentioned, you've seen Ray Phoenix before. What did you think of him in this match? Is this kind of what you expected from him, being that you've seen him wrestle a lot before?
Yeah. This is about right. I'd have to say, he can really go, and he's definitely great in the tag teams, and he's had good singles matches. I feel like his opponent, and I'm not going to trash him because it's probably his first time in a really big match ever. He's a little nervous. So I'm not going to be like, oh, man, he can't go. But his opponent wasn't doing him any favors. Just like the botch dive. There was a weird landing off the top rope by Frazier where he landed, and it looked like he almost he stuck it so oddly.
Yes, that was the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so they might have packed in too many complicated things. Some of the good wrestling by him, which were like the roll-ups and then the reverses of the roll-ups, it was all during commercial break. So there's all this good wrestling during the commercial break, so you can only see it a little bit on the TV. Then they go back and they're doing the flippy stuff.
Yeah. I thought Frazier looked good. A couple of maybe nerves on the dive and then that weird landing, but I thought he was a great opponent for Phoenix. Phoenix is not a big guy. He's 180 pounds.
Yeah, he's
tiny.
At
least that's what he's billed at.
Yeah.
But I thought his top turnbuckle flip to the floor going to the commercial looked good. It's cliche in the WWE, but it was a good looking move. He hits a weird looking brain buster for a 2 count at some point.
The fire driver, I think they might have called it.
The fire driver. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It was nasty.
It did look nasty.
Great.
It looked nasty, but Frazier was fine on it. Nathan Frazier was fine on it. Frazier hit the leap up to the top rope and did wind up hitting the superplex at one point. That was really good. But of the finish was Phoenix does a kip up, super kick into the corner. And then what they're calling the Mexican muscle buster, a la Samoa Joe, for the pinfall. Match goes about 9-ish minutes. Not a bad opening match.
Yes. I liked it. I liked that Ray Phoenix debuted. And, he gave a heartfelt promo that wasn't long. I really wish WWE would do more promos like the Ray Phoenix one after the match. Give me a couple lines, and then that's it. I like that style. This might be... I might be alluding to something, but I'm hearing a lot of long-winded promos. A lot of really long-winded stuff.
We may have to get to that a little later then, huh?
Yeah. And
where to next? This was a decent match, good debut. Good that they gave him some mic time.
Yeah, we got this from the Fixer.
Phoenix is athletic. Is the more athletic out of him and Penta? Okay. Is Penta a little bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got some size to him.
Okay.
Yeah, he drinks some cervezas, I believe, because he's got that belly on him. But yeah, he's a little thicker, but he's bigger too. But he's damn athletic. Phoenix is crazy though. Phoenix can just... You saw it in the one high spot that he did off the dive off the top rope. Not the dive, but the top rope spot. He shoots himself up so high in those to come back down. Dom, can you mess with your mic a little bit? It's all...
Can I mess with my mic a little bit? Is it looking bad or just sounding bad?
No, it was you had a little bit of a hiss.
Okay.
You're good now.
Very good.
All right. So where do you want to go to next? I think I called out the last 2 matches. So how about you?
Let's go and just follow the show for a little while. Backstage, Braun Strowman is doing an interview where Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga confront him, and LA Knight walks over to even the sides, and it's a good exchange. I like it. It keeps LA Knight and Braun Strowman as baby faces. They're not teammates, all the time, but both baby faces. LA Knight kind of sticking up for the title contenders there. It does make Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga look like lackeys to Jacob Fatu a little bit. This sets up a U.S. championship match between LA Knight and Tama Tonga with Solo Sikoa in his corner. LA Knight wins this in about 9 or 10 minutes. Fast match early. Solo Sikoa with distractions every now and then, and that plays into the finish of the match. Solo tries to distract LA Knight, but misses an interference attempt as he runs up across the apron. LA Knight knocks Solo off the apron. Tama goes for a roll-up. LA kicks out, jumps right up, almost like Ray Phoenix did with the hop up and then right into your move. LA Knight kicks out of the roll-up, hits the blunt force trauma for the pinfall. So Tama Tonga, somebody's got to lose, buddy.
Boy, and it again continues the storyline of Bloodline 2.0 are just chumps right now.
They are down in the dumps. They are not at the top of the card at the moment.
Interestingly enough, you'd think of, unfortunately, sometimes like the stereotypes of the luchadors or the Mexican wrestlers always seem like they would get jobbed out. But right now, it's the Samoan family right now that are who have been just the superstar monsters typically are just taking losses left and right.
Yeah, Tama Tonga is losing a lot. Solo Sikoa occasionally looks like a chump. Jacob Fatu looks great.
Yeah, Fatu. I mean, he's getting his wins, but it looks like he's going to be separating from that. I have an interesting one from the Fixer about the previous conversation. So yeah, Penta's the muscle, and Phoenix is the athletic one.
Okay, very good. I like tag teams where the guys aren't just clones of each other.
This is totally different. They're totally. They both wear masks, and I guess they're technically lucha styles, but there's more of like a stronger style from Penta, and then Phoenix is going to be doing the flippy stuff. So, yeah,
there you go. Except for the Uso brothers, there's not a lot of guys where they've been successful and entertaining doing basically the same move set and almost cookie cutter. So that's good for if WWE does decide to put them together at some point.
Mm-hmm. So I missed this one, but how was the crowd for LA Knight? Was he over in Chicago?
LA Knight was over in Chicago. This was far enough distance in the show from the CM Punk segment that opened the program that, it had worn off. They put the Phoenix Fraser match in between them, then had a backstage segment. So by the time this happens, and this followed right from the backstage confrontation where LA Knight was like, "Get me a referee," and just starts stomping to the ring. So like people in the arena saw that as well as people at home. And then, boom, LA Knight's music hits. He's out in the ring and they're going. It's an entertaining match. I will watch LA Knight wrestle anywhere, anytime. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Like he's a throwback wrestler. He does offensive. He does defensive. He's not doing a lot of holds and submissions, but totally entertaining, energetic. He's got the charisma, or as Wade Barrett calls it, he's got the Kavorka. I
love
the
that
Seinfeld reference there, but I like it. Tama Tonga is serviceable, even though he's in a kind of a lackey role at the moment.
Yeah, he's actually kind of gotten a little bit better. I feel like.
Okay.
He seems like he fits in for sure in that role, but yeah, and it's not always about winning and losing. I think it's about making people look good. And we have our Ricochet Memorial Award with
right.
Tama Tonga. You could win it, bud. Just keep losing and keep wrestling solid matches. You could win the Don't Bury the Lead Ricochet Memorial Award.
He's the odds-on favorite at this point,
Yes.
3 months into the year.
Right. Oh,
not much more about this match. I mean, good, solid match, entertaining. Like to see it on TV. LA Knight could lose his title to Jacob Fatu. Well, of course, yeah, it's a title match. It's at WrestleMania. Anything can happen.
Yeah. What do you? Oh, I'm glad the Fixer you brought that up. LA Knight could lose his title to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. Dom and I will be doing not only a preview show of WrestleMania, where we'll be picking the winner who we think will win this, but who we are looking forward to most. What matches we're looking forward to most.
Yes.
It's something we do every year.
Yep.
We'll be going, deep dive breakdown of each match. So LA Knight, Jacob Fatu. Check us out for that specific. We're on YouTube. So if you're watching us on Twitch, check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, do the things, hit the like, and we are essentially going to be having that broadcast on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And will the Jacob Fatu LA Knight US Championship match, will that be in either one of our top 5s for matches we're most anticipating?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll be getting the full card, I imagine, sometime this week, and we'll be putting together just the information to do our preview show a little closer to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Fixer saying this WrestleMania is going to be a night for heels overall.
Oh.
Although that said, I think Gunther will lose his title to Jey Uso.
Okay.
Yeah, Jey Uso, Gunther, I still don't really know. Gunther feels like it feels like that was setting up that way, and I don't know if Uso has the momentum going into WrestleMania, if they'll continue with that plan or what's going to happen. So Gunther's really
That's good, though, right? I mean, if everything's not so predictable, that's probably good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, WrestleMania oftentimes they have been throwing swerves in there.
Yep.
Like I could have sworn Cody was going to knock off Roman Reigns,
and
then he lost.
And he lost. Yeah.
So there's always a swerve involved. But where you want to head?
This would be
next?
2 WrestleManias in a row that Gunther walks in as a champion and leaves having lost the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Because he lost the Intercontinental belt to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes, but that's a conversation for another day, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Very good. Where else would you like to go at this point? We've taken care of the first hour, really, and the last hour. We've got 2 matches and some talking in the middle of this show.
I have on my notes, and maybe you can help me out here. Naomi versus Jade is officially WrestleMania official.
Yes.
What happened with this segment?
This was only about a 2-minute match. It's Naomi versus B-Fab. B-Fab continues to be serviceable and look good. They mentioned that she was working with Natalya and Tyson Kidd at the dungeon. And you can tell she looks good. She looks like she belongs in that ring, not just as a valet. Naomi comes out for her match, and Jade Cargill jumps her from behind at the entranceway. They get everybody off of Naomi and send Naomi finally to the ring to start her match. She winds up winning it. B-Fab misses a big boot in the corner, gets her foot caught over the top turnbuckle. B-Fab can do that. She's tall, so that kind of makes sense there. Naomi then takes over, hits a modified, what they called it, a lung blower for the pinfall, which is kind of that chest cracker. Just the reverse of the back cracker, the chest cracker. I've seen other people do that. Like Liv Morgan does that to people. It's always a good spot when Liv is doing that to a bigger wrestler, like Jade Cargill a few weeks ago.
That's Jericho's code breaker.
The code breaker is the front one? Okay, yeah, that's like the lung buster, or lung blower, or whatever. They're not calling it the code breaker anymore. At least they're trying not to.
Yeah.
Liv does that, and then like the bigger wrestler sometimes will just catch her and powerbomb her. Naomi hits that. They're calling it the lung blower now. Okay, modified lung blower. I don't know what the regular lung blower is if it's not that. Like, I'll get it. For the pinfall, only goes about 2 minutes. Then Naomi jumps up and calls out Jade, like, you want to attack me? You want to attack me? So Jade attacks her again from behind, coming from the announce table side through the crowd. The crowd seems to love it. That's when Nick Aldis makes the match official for WrestleMania 41. I gotta say, I'm more into this Naomi Jade Cargill feud than I thought I would be.
Yeah, right? It's crazy. It's something else. They found something for Naomi that's way fresh. It feels like turning her heel like really freshened her up.
And for some reason, she looks like she's wrestling better now. Like maybe like the glow stick babyface stuff, flippy all the time, wasn't good for her, and just being a more aggressive heel is.
Yeah,
I think she's wrestling better now, and Jade looks much better. This is a better feud than I thought it was going to be.
Because Jade
not
actually
saying it'll be in my top 5, not saying it will, not saying it won't, but I'm more intrigued by the feud than I thought I would be. I think it's a worthy WrestleMania match.
they've done some goofy stuff with Jade that I don't think's done her a lot of favors. Just giving her a tag team title and then having her be like the sympathy tag in hot tag
Right.
person, like treating her like a celebrity where she could just do like
Right.
3 or 4 moves and not letting her loose, but they're going to cut her loose and we'll see what happens. I mean, she's had plenty of time to prep. And then, it sounds like with the Liv Morgan match, she kind of passed that test.
Yes.
Let's see
Yes.
if Naomi, wrestles a clean match in WrestleMania and has a good one with Jade. I think it's kudos to Naomi and her, really, if we can
Yep.
get like a good match of the both of them. But
Absolutely.
no, I 100% agree. I'm actually like pretty interested into this feud. And if you would have told me this is what was going to happen, I would have been like, okay. But there's something about it that has some legs, right?
Yep, it's been good, and they've managed to get Bianca Belair out of the way, so it's not like there's someone stuck in the middle of the friendships.
Yeah, what do they do? What do they do with the women's tag titles?
They had lost them to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They're now doing they had already lost that several weeks ago.
Okay.
It's Nick Aldis announced a gauntlet match for the #1 contendership to see who faces Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania. So that's going to be yet another WrestleMania match that they'll set next Friday on SmackDown. So yeah, the women's tag team titles seem to be alive and well and doing well over on Raw more.
Yeah, that's what happened. It's all on Raw, so I had no idea what happened. Okay.
It's mostly on Raw. That's where Bianca's been as well. She's in the middle of the Io Sky Rhea Ripley feud. So that looks like it's shaping up to be a triple threat championship match for WrestleMania. But yeah, so they've managed to get Bianca Belair out of the way and just have it be Naomi Jade, which I think is better. And the training wheels are off, and I think they're both riding the bike on their own.
Yeah. You want to keep this one moving here and talk about Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, that segment?
Okay, we'll do Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. We've got one more match and a couple of segments. Yeah, let's go Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. I don't know how real this is or if this is kayfabe. Kevin Owens announces he needs neck surgery, so his match with Randy Orton is off.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's real, then, prayers for Kevin Owens. I don't know what he's been doing all these months if his neck was like teetering on the brink of needing surgery. Randy Orton comes out dressed in the sweatsuit, kind of nods at Kevin Owens. They don't punch, nothing, and they just let it go. So makes me kind of think, it may be real. And then in the ring, Nick Aldis announces, unfortunately, this means that you no longer have a WrestleMania opportunity. Randy Orton RKO's Nick Aldis. I want to see Randy Orton, Nick Aldis at WrestleMania. I want Nick Aldis to get his WrestleMania moment as a match. He's still, I think, a little younger than 40 or very early 40s. So he's in that LA Knight age range. He's younger than John Cena. He's younger than CM Punk. He might even be younger than, Roman Reigns and a lot of these other stars.
Oh.
I don't know if this was planned all along or whatever, but I mean, Randy Orton RKOing Nick Aldis gets Nick Aldis into the ring against Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I want to see it.
Yeah. Fixer saying, I hear KO actually does need surgery, possibly has done for quite a while now.
Okay, that's amazing, though, all the stuff he's done if he's had a bad neck.
I feel like it's almost not a surprise because he's been working his ass off all year with these matches with Cody, and he's getting up there, and they haven't necessarily been the safest matches in the world, like with the ladder match. Like he did the Sami Zayn street fight match.
Yep.
So he's been doing a lot of crazy stuff recently. Not trying to trash him either, but when you're a bigger guy like that, I just feel like it's a bigger toll on you when you have that kind of assignment, right? Where there's a lot of weight there, that he's going to deal with.
Especially doing a lot of the high spots off of the ropes.
He's not doing lazy boy stuff. No,
he does sentons.
Yes. There's a couple comments here before we hop off this I wanted to bring up. So
sure, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton.
We got
Rhea Ripley is more heel now than face. Okay, well, good for her. She seems to be able to straddle that line between heel and face. And I was going to say, like, if she's still face, then that's a 3 baby face match as well, like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk.
Yeah, she seems like she's a chameleon. She could go between either one, and she really pulls off both excellently. You
She
know,
does.
she has the look where it could easily be a heel, all
Yes.
black, the tattoos, and then when she just has the white gear and all the tattoos, and she's the muscle mommy, you're like, damn, here's a face for you, right?
Yep.
It's just to change the color of the trunks, and it flips to like automatically, like, man, muscle mommy.
Yep.
Um,
I like where they're going with that one. We don't see much of it because it's on Raw, but yeah.
I like your idea. Wow. So maybe this will be a short video. Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. That would be cool because if Nick Aldis has gas in the tank and can go, have you seen him wrestle before?
Yes, he was Magnus in TNA. He was NWA World's Champion more than once. One time had a reign that lasted years. He and Cody Rhodes had that fantastic feud where they were doing Iron Man 60-minute matches and trading the title back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen Nick Aldis wrestle. He's still in that Cody Rhodes LA Knight age range. He looks like he's in great shape underneath the suits that he's wearing.
He looks huge.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Pearce's GM, he got his WrestleMania match a few years ago, I think. It would be really cool if Nick Aldis, who they brought over with a great pedigree as an in-ring wrestler and performer, just to be the GM. I mean, if this is kind of last-minute booking, how they get him to, like, hey, can you go? Do you want to have a WrestleMania match? Yeah, I've been keeping in shape. I've been working out. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. I think he can still go, just guessing by the age and how he looks physically. His posture is still excellent. He still looks strong.
Yeah, he might have just taken this job with WWE and as a GM because why wouldn't you? It's a pretty easy gig, right? You're not bumping. You just got to say a couple lines here and there. But as far as Nick Aldis is concerned, would be really cool to see him, climb to the top there, get a shot in WrestleMania after all those years of, being down on Power Hour, which I think Power Hour was really cool, right? But
yep. NWA Power, yep.
Yeah. The NWA Power, that was a great era of like indie wrestling or
yes,
smaller.
2019. Yep.
I'd say I wouldn't call them an indie as much as like maybe a very popular indie.
It was the revitalization of the oldest professional wrestling association in the U.S.
Yeah. And then the
revitalization, Billy Corgan, a lot of fresh ideas, taking advantage of new media, going with their own broadcasting on the video sharing sites before, we don't need a TV deal anymore.
Yeah.
We'll just do it ourselves online with streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I thought Nick Aldis was a great character. I remember him as Magnus back in TNA, where he was, this young up and coming guy who had a great look to him and also wrestled pretty well as well. So yeah, if that's where I'm just kind of throwing that out there, like, hey, if he's going to get physical with Nick Aldis, I want Nick Aldis in a WrestleMania match. But truthfully, I think it would be cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I like the idea of it as well. I think, Nick Aldis is in good shape. He's got the pedigree, and that would just be a fun one because you're like, you don't expect him to, and he you don't expect something like that, and it would just be cool for him just to get out there and lose, right, to Randy Orton.
Sure, but have a great match in the process.
Yes. Yeah. We got this from the Fixer. What's his opinion? If Nick Aldis still has the skill in the ring, a match with Randy Orton will be a classic.
All right.
I love it. Then
we got an endorsement from the Fixer. There we go. Very good.
I know Triple H watches the show, so Triple H, do what you got to do. Get Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton. All right.
Good. One more match. It was the #1 contenders match for the tag team titles on the men's side. The Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, beat DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso tries a roll-up, puts his feet on the ropes. The ref Little Nate, Charles Robinson, sees it and stops counting. And while Tommaso is complaining, he charges at Chris Sabin, misses the charge. Sabin gives him a little extra heading into that turnbuckle. And that's the turnbuckle that got ripped off earlier in the match. Oh, my goodness. And it came into play at the end. Tommaso Ciampa hits the exposed turnbuckle. Sabin rolls him up for the pinfall. Goes about a 9 or 10 minute match here. Pretty entertaining as well. Every match on this show was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm spoiling the next segment, but every match on this show was a good match. This one worked out, so they'll be, Motor City Machine Guns will be facing Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, the Street Profits, for the men's tag team championships there. I like it.
All right. Speaking of the next segment, anything else you want to talk about with this show?
Yes, we're burying Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, who came into the ring for a long interview with Wade Barrett. This was better than other stuff they've done before for a while. They were also bringing in stuff from real life into this. Tiffany Stratton keeps calling Charlotte Flair the Nepo baby. References, I'm 25 years old. I'm going into WrestleMania as the champion. When you were 25 years old, you were living in your dad's basement, getting drunk and trying to be a volleyball player. And then it kind of got a little weird. They referenced Charlotte Flair going on the Sherry Talk Show and crying about her recent divorce. Tiffany referenced that, boo-hoo crying on that talk show. So I don't know how many people saw that on the interwebs and caught the reference. I caught it. Charlotte Flair at one point looks like she's getting Dominic Mysterio heat from the crowd. Like, just the boos were overwhelming.
Yeah.
At the end, Tiffany drops the mic after a divorce joke, and Charlotte finishes as Tiffany Stratton is already walking away down the aisle. Charlotte quips back with, "Is that why Kaiser's in my DMs?" So it got silly at the end. I wrote down, this was good until it got gossipy.
Yeah. Right.
They looked like they were having some real good animosity over the upstart versus the veteran for a while. It seemed like it was finally clicking. And then it was, let's see how many references to obscure internet things outside of the ring we can make. And,
Yeah.
Kind of took a turn for the worse. But I'm glad that Tiffany Stratton looks like she's a little more comfortable in these verbal exchanges.
It's funny. Someone let me know before, and they were like, "Oh, it sounded like things got personal," before I saw the segment. And I only saw the line about the sliding the DMs. I was like, "No, that's a work. That didn't happen." But I think the other stuff did happen. Yeah, like it very, very strange face move. To trash someone for having a personal reason, like a divorce, which is a hard thing to go through, and a lot of people do. Oh yeah, well, you had cancer, loser, right?
Yeah,
right. Like, what the? Is it very, like, you would think, like, this is not very face material. Oh, what, did you have a drinking problem and you were in your dad's basement, and it's like, okay, geez.
Tiffany Stratton taking her education from the Bonsall Street Bomber.
Right? Just say the meanest thing that comes to the top of the head, and then just
man with 3 H's watches don't bury the lead, and apparently Tiffany Stratton's been going through old NJCW championship clash footage on YouTube.
Right. There's nothing this man won't say.
Right.
Before we go into the thumb drive here, I got a good one here from the Fixer. Just a fantasy booking stuff.
Okay.
A friend of mine just sent me a message. He said whoever wins out of Seth, Roman, and Punk should get added to the Gunther versus Jey Uso match to shake things up a bit. So that match would be a number 1 contender for the heavyweight title the next day. The U.S. championship the next day. What is that title called? World Championship?
That's the World Heavyweight Championship.
World Heavyweight
yes.
Championship. Yeah.
Everything on Raw is world. Everything on SmackDown is not world. So Cody Rhodes is the WWE Universal Champion. Gunther is the World Heavyweight Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Io Sky is the Women's World Champion. Tiffany Stratton is the WWE Women's Champion. So yeah, I think that's what they're going with so far. I do not like that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think the Seth Roman CM Punk feud has far more legs than just this one match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see them go in a different direction so quickly. Secondly, they've invested so much. I don't watch Raw, but I've seen some of the clips. They've invested so much into Gunther versus Jey Uso that I think it would be awkward and would just kind of crap on all the work that those two guys have put in to making their feud something that people want to see.
Yeah.
I think it would be an admission that this was... if they did that last minute, it would be an admission that Jey Uso Gunther was a turd from the beginning and never should have been done.
I think that he's saying that it needs to fix this. This is the fixer's friend, just to fix the Jey Uso Gunther match, because Jey Uso is getting a bit stale.
Again, if they want to admit that this was all a mistake from, that it's been a 3 or 4 month mistake building to it, this seems an odd time to admit your mistake.
Yeah. I think you could even just have him lose to Gunther and then that be that, and hopefully they have a good match if it's been that stale or that bad.
And the other thing is, if you need to rescue that match, I don't want to see them destroy what could be a great long-running feud between Punk, Rollins, and Roman.
Yeah, they got something going there with them in the future beyond WrestleMania. So, and that's probably why they set it up as a triple threat anyway, because something's going to happen, right?
Yep.
All right. So that's the show. Dom, anything else before we head into the thumb drive?
I think that's everything from this show. It was jam-packed. We got a talking segment as the main event, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the wrestling was bad, that it was just downgraded out of the main event role. And on that note, maybe it's time for us to put a bow on this. It's drive time. It's our thumb drive, where you and I distill this entire show into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You're taking this course. Pass. Fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 5 stars at the Liacouras Center at the AEW Dynasty show that I'm going to tomorrow. I feel I'm going to AEW Dynasty tomorrow, and Dave loves himself some AEW. So I can see a 5-star from Dave.
All right.
No. We're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do 5 stars at the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia. But Dom, we only give a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. Was the show good or was the show bad?
Mm-hmm.
Dom, are you ready?
Hold on a second. Yes, I believe I am.
Perfect. Okay, ready. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 thumbs up. Dom, why'd you give this show a thumbs up?
Not a perfect show, but even the things from, say, the Rey Fenix Nathan Fraser match, the little bit of botchy was there because guys were really trying hard. So like every match was good. Every match was above average, was something that you didn't want to miss. There were no bathroom breaks. The only thing that got a little cringy was the Charlotte Flair Tiffany Stratton thing towards the end, but even that was important because the first half of it really showed some growth on Tiffany Stratton's part. So everything on this show was good and was important and moved things forward and showcased people, at least for part of the time, in their best light. That's a great show. This was maybe the best SmackDown they've had because with 3 hours, there didn't feel like there was any filler.
Yeah. Actually, from my perspective, I agree with you to a certain extent. So
Okay.
I thought all the wrestling was really good, um, and I thought that is the reason I gave it the thumbs up, but I was really close to a thumbs down. And I'm going
Okay.
to tell you, this is the second SmackDown in a row where it was a talking segment for the first 30 minutes of the show. And not only did that talking segment go 30 minutes of the show, it also bled into the main event. This was not a complicated thing to get done in like
No.
10 minutes between these
Yes.
three.
Yep.
And they drug it out for 45 minutes of the show.
Yep.
This whole, what's the favor? The favor is like, oh, Paul Heyman's in the corner. It's not even that interesting. So,
Roman Reigns laughed at it, and he was right to.
he correctly laughed at it. So I do want to say I gave it a thumbs up because of the wrestling,
Mhm.
but I gotta see them start to wrap up some of these promos and give some more time to the matches, or have like promos like tonight with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. That was quick enough.
Mhm.
You know, I just feel like you can't give me a super long promo in the beginning, then a super long promo at the end for the same damn story. Like,
Yes.
it's taking away a little bit from it, and it's taking a little bit of the shine off of Punk, because I've been watching him since AEW, so I'm more than seen a lot of this kind of style of promos where it's like, oh, back in Chicago, I'm from here, and it's always like this big sob story. But
Which Roman Reigns rightfully mocked when he got on the mic later.
yes. So I don't know how much you can do this with Punk on both shows where I'm back, I love WWE, before it gets stale. And
Mhm.
for me, it's only a little stale because I've seen him in AEW. But if you're going to be having him doing Raw, then SmackDown, where he does a promo at the beginning and promo at the end, it's a good way to get him fast forwarded to being stale.
Maybe that's the goal. Someone in WWE backstage is sabotaging CM Punk.
They know that they
We'll
only have
show him.
they only have him for a certain period of time, realistically, before he freaks out, and they want to get the most out of him. I don't know.
Right?
All right, Dom. Well, I'll tell you what. That's the thumb drive, but we are far from done here. We have. Is it getting a little hot out, Dom, as we head toward spring?
It's always hot here in Don't Bury the Lead land when we start talking about news from around the wrestling world. It's also very cheap.
Never not cheap. You should have heard the breakdown of Dom's new setup behind him. It looks very good. We will not tell you the price, but we'll just say that it was done in a very professional manner. So
Very professional manner. Absolutely.
yeah, so we're gonna roll here. This is our segment, Cheap Heat. Cheap Heat is where we talk about trending topics in the wrestling world. So we take these trending topics in WWE, AEW, the rest of the wrestling world. We typically take this segment here and we cut it down into shorter videos. Those short videos have done pretty well for us over the years in YouTube, and pretty much have driven the entire channel to become monetized. We're over 1,100 subscribers now. We're over 700,000 views. So we were doing this live stream and nobody was watching for 6 months, I'd say. Then we started to do this. So this is really the backbone of the channel. Thanks to everyone for joining us today and hanging in with us. Fixer, as always, I appreciate it. And I see a couple other people that have been on. So thank you guys for hanging in. But this is our main event, if you will, Cheap Heat. So let me kick it to Dom. Dom, what's our first story?
We've got some wrestling business news to lead this off. Look at those two handsome, dastardly heels on the screen there. This is from Life and Style magazine. That's John Cena on the left, of course. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson on the right. How John Cena and Dwayne Johnson put their egos aside to help pump WWE numbers amid the Netflix move. talking about how the Netflix move started with a little bit of a fizzle after the first show.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys have been needed. Like, this star power has been needed to make good on what a big business deal this was. They had a well-known feud for a while. When The Rock left to do movies, Cena for a while was trashing him until, of course, Cena went to do movies. They've
Right.
been in the Fast and Furious franchise where they both played antagonists turned anti-heroes. And here's the big quote here. A source close to the Moana Stars world exclusively tells Life and Style, that meaning close to The Rock, with WWE getting off to a somewhat wobbly start in its big money move to Netflix, this is an all hands on deck moment for Dwayne, and it's also given him a chance to reassess some of these long-held relationships that cross over from the wrestling world to the movie business. John Cena being back as well and making this a big old run with WWE. All hands on deck. These are the guys that built the company into what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, every now and then they're needed again. Like, hey, we need another big boost. This is the business of wrestling, but it's also, we're thankful that the guys that they bring in to help pump up the business are also guys who are longstanding, great performers. I don't think either one of us has been disappointed with overall The Rock's contributions, especially when he got in the ring last WrestleMania. He looked like he could still go for a little bit, at least in a tag team match. Cena has looked like he could go as he's worked himself into shape. So it's not like they're just nostalgia acts. It looks like they're contributing to the present while using all of that built up star power, that built up credit that they've earned over the years to really help the business side of WWE. What say you about this? I sent this article to you. It's wrestling in clearly a non-wrestling news outlet, Life and Style.
Yeah, but it's got some good stuff within it.
According to reports, WWE Raw saw a decline in its viewership after its move to the streaming giant earlier in 2025, meaning Netflix. So this Netflix deal, for all of the pomp and circumstance that surrounded it, it did not get off to a good start.
No.
They're locked in. I don't think they could cancel the contract. So they're locked in for the money.
That was a surprise to me.
Okay.
I did not realize that was the situation. I had only assumed that the number, I hadn't paid attention much to it, but I had assumed that the number would be really good in Netflix. But maybe and this is a tendency. We saw this with Fox. WWE was promising like 5 million as the number that would watch SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was they had hit the bar so low. They had only gotten about like 1 million, 2 million viewers on SmackDown. The Fox didn't even like entertain it. They're like, yeah, you guys are done when the contract's over. Like that whole relationship is just completely south now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fox doesn't do anything with WWE. They were like, no. They were just like, the expectation was 5 million. They talked it up like it'd be 5 million, and it wasn't even close. So maybe
it was 2 to 3. It was like half of it. Yeah.
Maybe this is the situation with Netflix. The same thing where, they just kind of BS the number a little bit, and it's not hitting that BS number that they maybe unrealistically promised.
Yeah, despite having less sports competition on the platform compared to the previous format. I mean, the organization needed to pull its big name talent together to make magic happen for audiences who wouldn't usually be invested in following wrestling. So John Cena and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, if you're on Netflix, which is more of an entertainment platform than a sports platform, this is the first time they've had wrestling. It just makes sense, and it's probably very lucky that you've got two people you can pull into, especially the Raw side of things, who are known probably more outside of wrestling than they are in wrestling anymore.
I got to bring this one up. The Fixer's got a banger here. That early appearance with Hulk Hogan did not help.
What you gonna do, brother, when the crowd boos the crap out of you?
You go like the most liberal leaning city in America, and they have Hulk Hogan come out. Like, nope, that's not gonna work.
No, they're trying to hawk us beer again. At least no kids cried. Dwayne and John Cena feuded in the past, but wrestling still matters to both of them. And John is trying to be helpful at this pivotal moment for WWE and for Dwayne, who is calling a lot of creative shots for WWE as a member of its board of directors. Calling a lot of creative shots.
Mm.
I thought they were supposed to get away from that. With like the suits determining what the product is. It's like, no, you guys just stick to the investing.
Who is quoting this here? I'm sorry. Who's saying this?
This is, I think this is all from the source close to The Rock.
Oh, wow. So someone spilled the beans to Life and Style?
Yes.
Someone, I mean, if true, this is ridiculous. Like, this would be a lot of tea to get from someone close to Dwayne.
But it's also plausible.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily make the WWE look bad. In some ways, it makes the WWE look very good.
Yeah.
Like, they signed this big deal. They just could have said, like, we're done for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they see things getting a little soft with the viewership, and they're calling in favors. And it's not like the CM Punk favor, I want you to be in my corner. Like, they're calling in big-time celebrities to come in and, do you guys want to not just make cameo appearances, but do you guys want to be involved in the wrestling product?
Yeah.
And Cena and The Rock said yes.
Yeah. Right.
I like it. Let's end with that picture there of these two guys that are, hey, John Cena and The Rock to the rescue.
Yeah. Cena, I mean, talk about doing everything he could do for the company. After years of not wanting to turn heel, he turned heel, and man, oh man, is he the hottest thing in wrestling right now or what?
Right, and apparently he had a fantastic exchange on the mic with Cody Rhodes on Raw. They showed a little bit to us on this SmackDown.
Yeah.
It wasn't fresh material, though, so it wasn't worth talking, but like it was the Raw SmackDown. Apparently these guys he's doing gangbusters work. Cena is not mailing it in.
No.
Neither is The Rock. They're not here to promote other things, even though they have plenty of other things going on. They're here to be wrestlers, it seems like, and to care about the wrestling product.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good thing it still looks good for WWE that they're able to pivot and get to that point. But it's interesting to see that Netflix was not happy with them. But great find, Dom.
There you go. I would like to tell you that I'm a frequenter of Life and Style magazine, but I had no idea they existed until I just saw this headline.
How about Life and Style getting this?
Yeah, crushing it. Life and Style getting on. Don't bury the lead.
Dave Meltzer is probably furious right now. Like, what? I didn't get this? Life and Style?
7 stars to Life and Style for this report.
Wild.
Speaking of these guys in movies, from Deadline, Dwayne Johnson and Benny Safdie's Mark Kerr MMA biopic set. It's got a release date now coming to us from Deadline. There's a still from this match where they've AI computer generated The Rock to look like this other guy. All of The Rock's tattoos are gone. This is almost a cartoon. It's a live action cartoon. They're saying that the release date in theaters, October 3rd, 2025. So a fall release date. Looks like it's in post-production. It'll be football season. It'll be out of WrestleMania season. But good for The Rock and the production company here on this MMA biopic about Mark Kerr. So in case we had forgotten, yes, they have other things they do, like star in movies.
Right. I know we had talked about it a lot, this movie, but that's a crazy look for The Rock, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean they gave him hair and they took away his tattoos. Looks like they made him a little thinner too, especially around the waist.
Yeah, this is it's weird. I don't know how well. I wonder how well the movie will do.
It's as if they have a complete stunt double in there and just pasted The Rock's face on in post-production.
Right.
It's not The Rock's hair. It's not The Rock's body. It's not The Rock's skin with the no tattoos. It's just The Rock's kind of face.
Yeah. Interesting.
There it is. So fascinating what they can do. Fascinating what the kids can do with these computers these days, isn't it?
It's something, man. We should get into that, Dom. We should look into stuff like this.
Yes, I feel like Homer Simpson with his Internet King episode. Did you know they have the internet on computers today?
Right.
Over to one of the Rock's main rivals. No, it's not Seth Rollins. This comes to us from WrestleZone, but Steve Austin. Seth Rollins credits Steve Austin for being the reason he has a daughter. Apparently in 2020, there was an episode of Raw where Stone Cold Steve Austin appeared in 2020. He drank beer and asked the crowd to give him a hell yeah. Becky Lynch was out there drinking the beer with him. It was the beer drinking with Steve Austin that prompted the conception of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins' baby girl. My favorite Stone Cold moment I've been a part of, the first WWE show post-COVID shutdown, the 316 Raw. Customary for someone to drink with Stone Cold in the ring, and it was my lovely, incredible wife, the man, Becky Lynch. She happened to break open 1, 2, 3, 4 cold ones with Stone Cold at the end of Raw. That night, she was like, I think it's time to take some off. I think it's time to take some time off and have a baby. There you go. Coming to a city near you, the Stone Cold Steve Austin Fertility Clinic.
This is as good of a story as you get for when we decided to have a baby and how you were born. We weren't going to do it, and then Becky Lynch got drunk with Stone Cold accidentally because she was drinking the beers, and then she's like, you know what? I want a baby. I'm going to take some time off. It's like, wow. And, sometimes you have some beers, you get a little bit more honest, and there she was just being honest. She wanted a baby, and that's why they did it. Fantastic story by Seth Rollins here on Good Morning Football. I laughed out loud when you sent this one to me, Dom. I was like, this is fantastic. This is just a good feel-good story, right?
Right, yes. Again, Homer Simpson, beer, is there anything it can't do? So very good there. Speaking of people who we'd like to see back on the promotion, like Becky Lynch, they still haven't really announced when she'll be back. She hasn't indicated that she's retired. So I'm guessing we're expecting her back at some point. That would be great. Seth Rollins, of course, has been rolling along forever. But somebody new who may be showing up in WWE soon, Miro. Miro in AEW, who was Rusev in WWE, he was spotted at WWE headquarters in Stamford. Rusev has signed with the company. This comes to us from PW Insider, Mike Johnson there. CJ Perry, also known as Lana, was not part of the deal, at least not yet. That could change, but for the moment it is not. It's just Rusev. What do you think of Rusev? Do you remember him when he was in WWE as Rusev? I know you've seen him in AEW as Miro. What do you think of this gentleman here and his wrestling ability, and will he be an asset to the WWE?
For sure. He's good. He's a good wrestler. He was good as Miro in AEW. He kind of did the same thing, but he just shaved his head and bleached his hair blonde, and he wasn't a Russian anymore. In the WWE, he was a Russian stereotype. He came in on a tank. Yeah. He came in. Yeah, who would have thought, right?
The WWE made Guy an ethnic stereotype. Oh, my goodness.
But he has one of my favorite all-time WrestleMania entrances. He comes in on a tank, a huge tank, him and Lana, his wife, and he's got the big Russian flag as he heads to the ring and to wrestle John Cena. So coming in on a tank, and the thing, it looks like it was a real tank. It was crazy. And he's got this gigantic over the top Russian flag, And Cena came out with the American flag and they did the thing. They
That
did the
sounds
whole-
very WWE. Yes.
But it was so weird because it was like in an era where it was like this was even like Ukraine, Russia. It was like things were pretty calm between the two countries, so there wasn't even that big of a rivalry, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I have a couple comments I wanted to bring up, Dom.
Sure.
We got this one here. Cookie Monster and Dynamite said this to us. I know this isn't about the favor, but God, Jay is going to murder Gunther. I think he means that
Okay.
if Jay beats him, that's going to be bad for Gunther.
Well, they've been really selling it as Gunther taking advantage of Jay whenever he can. On a recent Raw, maybe the one from this past week, Gunther beat up Jimmy Uso. Then Jay Uso came down for the save. Gunther zip tied him to the ropes and then kept beating up Jimmy while Jay watched. Busted him open at one point. So they're really trying to sell this as a big feud.
This one's great from the Fixer. The Rock's hair vanished some time ago. LOL. This is true.
It did. But hey, you don't always need hair to look good.
This is true. He is huge.
Unless you're playing in a biopic and the guy you're playing is supposed to have hair.
He's supposed to have hair, yes.
In which case let's do that.
One more. As long as he doesn't bring back his Rusev Day thing again.
What is Rusev Day? Do you remember that, John?
I barely remember this.
Okay.
I think when he was face, he would say it was Rusev Day. It was real goofy.
He just gave himself a holiday and it was whenever he wanted it.
Yeah.
Today is Don't Bury the Lead Day. Thank you all for celebrating with John and me. Wherever you're watching us on Twitch, on X, or on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Know that our big motherload of content is over on the YouTube channel. Head on over there and sign up, subscribe. We've got even a premium join option available if you want some extra goodies. Like the stuff you like. Comment when you have some thoughts to share. Go through our archive. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel at YouTube. We hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. We hit the 1,100 subscriber mark. Help us climb the next mountain. Every day can be Don't Bury the Lead Day, just like Rusev Day.
I love it. I love it. What do we got next here, Dom?
Up next, more arrivals. Mina Shirakawa, coming to us from SI.com, confirms that she's leaving Stardom in Japan and reveals her future plans, which involves signing with AEW. AEW has an arrangement with promotions in Japan. You have seen her either wrestling AEW stars for AEW programming or AEW stars going over there and wrestling her, correct? There was a big Mercedes Moné feud in her for a while, right?
Yeah, she's been a part of AEW, and she was pretty big at one point with Tony Storm and Mariah May. She was involved with them, so she was up at the top of the card.
Okay,
when she was there,
or doing cameos though. Do you like seeing her as perhaps signing full time?
Yeah, she definitely earned it. She's hilarious. She really gets. And which is weird for someone that is not speaking English naturally, but she's a good comedy gimmick.
Good.
And she gets what she's supposed to do, and what she's supposed to do is be a beauty, but it's like kind of ditzy. So
okay.
And she really does it well.
Is she a good wrestler though?
Yeah, she can work too. All the Japanese girls can work.
Okay, very good. Very good. It is not only thanks to the fans who have always believed in me and supported me that I've been able to continue to pursue my dreams and pursue my career as a professional wrestler. Thank you so much. I think they mentioned she's 37 years old and perhaps is on the second half of her career. So this may be a good capping to the career, finally getting to cross the ocean, wrestle full-time for a major U.S. promotion. Frankly, I think you've mentioned before, their women's division is picking up.
Big time. But such a big improvement over the pretty much. I think what kicked it off was Mercedes Moné signing. A lot of people critique that signing because they spend too much money on her. But I,
Okay.
on the other hand, would say she was worth every penny because the women's division is now pretty good, where
Good.
it was in the toilet before. It was really not good.
Mina still has a number of appearances for the old promotion coming up during WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. But the announcement marks the end of a successful 5-year run with Stardom, where she captured both the Future of Stardom Championship and the Wonder of Stardom title. I don't know what any of those mean. They are championship belts. Belts are usually good things. You're telling us she's a really good performer. She's had a feud with Mercedes Moné. AEW fans, tell us in the comment, are you looking forward to Mina Shirakawa?
Well, I got a good point here by the Fixer.
Okay.
Only need to look at Asuka to see that the Japanese women's wrestlers work hard, and Asuka is in her 40s.
She is. She's in her early 40s, isn't she? And even Io Sky is in her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
yeah,
then,
they do. They work hard, and they're fantastic athletes.
got a great one here from the Fixer. LL, don't bury the lead day. Why the hell not? I like
Greeting cards coming to a Hallmark near you.
It's don't bury the lead day every Saturday night.
That's right. No, we have to start saying that more often if I remember.
Yeah.
And if you remember as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't bury the lead day. One more departure, this time from TNA Impact. Gail Kim was let go as part of some releases behind the scenes. She was not wrestling for TNA. She was part of Creative. She put up an Instagram thank you to everybody because of the opportunity she got there, but also wanted to say, and one last thought, more women in leadership roles, not less. That's an interesting point. As women's wrestling gets better and is no longer a sideshow of just lingerie models, as women's wrestling is more about athletes, as women's wrestling gets more airtime on these shows, as women prove that they can be in many ways as entertaining as the men in the ring, as wrestlers, as athletes, as competitors, does that open the door for more women who know what they're talking about and know what they're doing in creative roles?
For sure. I'd even talk to this. I know there's a female in the women's NXT side that trains the female wrestlers.
Okay.
And in my opinion, the NXT women's wrestlers are much more ready to go than the NXT men's, whoever's training them. So they're the trainer down in NXT for the women's side. It's a woman. Her name's escaping me, but that's just a great example of like she's doing a better job than whoever the male coach is because the women are ready to go. And I agree with this assessment too because the women's wrestling now it's like a 50-50 thing. Yeah. They can easily main event and they have in the past, and when they main evented, it was good. It was Bianca Belair and Mercedes Moné. I forgot her name.
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. I forgot her WWE name. Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And we also saw Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, probably the match of the year. So
yeah, for 2023, right?
So when we do, now that these people start to get older and, you get people that get to be agents, and you're usually men, right? Now you can easily put a woman out there as an agent because knows what she's doing.
I mean, is anybody behind the scenes working with talent as good at developing talent as Natalya has been?
Another great call out, Natalya.
I mean, how many great women's wrestlers have been training with Natalya? They mentioned BFAB on the SmackDown show we recapped. Liv Morgan, 10-year veteran, still works out with Natalya. Jade Cargill had been working out with Natalya and finally looks like she's ready. I mean, women, you've brought this up times. Women wrestle differently than men. They don't have the strength, but they have better flexibility. They wrestle a little differently. They move differently around the ring. Their size compared, because they don't bring out like a women's sized ring for the women's matches. So
No.
their size relative to the ring and what they do in there is different than what the men do. So having some women who can train the women to get the most out of their physicality, that can only enhance the product, I would think, in the long run. I think it would be a net gain. And so to the women wrestlers out there who are able to teach, I think there will be a place for you in this business, especially as this continues to be a big business, lots of money to be made, lots of TV shows to produce, premium live events, even house shows, barnstorming tours. Wrestling is big business. And I don't think it's an accident that wrestling has become a bigger business as women's wrestling has become not a sideshow anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And I like this one here. I'm surprised Natalia hadn't gone to join the creative team at NXT, or has she already?
It's a good question. I don't know if she has an official role with NXT. She definitely has an arrangement with WWE because there are WWE stars going to train with her. But that's a good question. Does she have an official title down there on NXT Developmental?
I mean, whenever Natalia wants to hang it up, she's immediately in the Hall of Fame, and quite frankly, she should probably lead the Hall of Fame when the year that she does. But I feel like Natalia, we haven't seen her wrestle in a while. She's still with the company. She's not been released, right?
It's been a while. I think she may have been involved in a tag match or a triple threat within the last few months. But yeah, she's another one who hasn't announced her retirement. I mean, she could go into the Hall of Fame and just do the Rey Mysterio and be the hardest working retired woman in wrestling.
Yeah. She's still signed to WWE under the Raw brand. So she's still hanging around.
Very good.
Maybe she's a little bit like the Miz at this point, where from time to time, they'll use her.
They are using the Miz. He had a little segment with Carmelo Hayes, the new Mellow Don't Miz tag team they're trying out.
Oh boy.
He had a little skirmish verbally with Pretty Deadly backstage.
You know what's funny? I saw Miz wrestle, and damn, if he still can't go, man, he can still go. So that could be good for Carmelo Hayes, actually.
Yep. Good to get the rub from some of these veteran performers out there. All right, this one just has Cheap Heat written all over it. This comes to us from WrestleZone. That's Speedball Mike Bailey, who I've never heard of, but he has the name Speedball Mike Bailey. He also has a mullet, which goes along with the nickname Speedball Mike Bailey. He reveals his Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling mullets. Not pro wrestlers, not pro wrestling gimmicks, pro wrestling matches or feuds, pro wrestling mullets. He knows what it takes to have a great head of hair. He was in a recent interview with WrestleZone managing editor Bill Pritchard. Bailey was asked to pick his Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling mullets. This is my favorite Mount Rushmore ever. I am of the opinion that the mullet is the most clutch of all the hairstyles.
Yes.
This goes back to Charlie Whitehurst with the mullet coming off the bench to lead the Seattle Seahawks into the playoffs with a non-winning record that one year, years ago.
Yeah.
Speedball said Eddie Guerrero was his immediate choice, noting how Latino Heat had a hairstyle that transcended time. He then named the other three men who rocked the Mississippi top hat better than anyone in the squared circle. Eddie Guerrero, Demolition's Crush. That's a good one. Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, yeah. Ricky Morton, for sure.
I love it. And then an underrated choice, Hiroshi Hase, who I do not know, but if someone named Speedball says this guy has a great mullet, how can you disagree with Speedball when it comes to mullets?
They picked the right guy to give the mullet list. I don't know much about him either, except for his name Speedball. So, yeah, he should know what a freaking mullet is.
I wonder if you can find pictures of these four finely coiffed gentlemen if you do make an edited video of Speedball Mike Bailey's Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling mullets.
Yeah, I feel a video in the future. We have a couple from this one, honestly. So, this is going to be tough to decide what makes it and what doesn't. If you could scroll down a bit here, I like that he just said Eddie Guerrero's one. Like,
Right.
that's got to be one. Eddie Guerrero. Um,
Not only because it was a great mullet, but because he made it work super well.
and you mentioned an athlete from the '90s that you talked about that had a great mullet. I mean, there's so many from my era. John Kruk, the first baseman.
Yes. In
He had
baseball, yes. That whole team had mullets for a while, didn't they?
the whole they
The
were like
93 Phillies.
their gimmick was they were dirt bags. And they like knew it, and so that's what they were like, the bad boy dirt bags. And well, I think the Mets were like the bad boys because Lenny Dykstra and Kruk were on that team, and then the Phillies got Dykstra and Kruk, and then they cleaned up a little bit, and they were the dirtbag mullets guys. And then we had Jeremy Yager with that mullet. He's got an all-time mullet.
Yes, in the NHL, yes.
Yeah, I'm putting this out there just in case we do make the mullet video. I'm going to talk about people with sports and mullets.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, mullets were big for a while. Business in the front, party in the back.
They're making a huge comeback, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Good.
They're a little too stylish, though. It's like they keep it a little shorter, and it's like it's faded a little bit. So, no, I think you got to go full dirtbag. And
it's got to be the full. The mullet is supposed to be, low maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
You give it a trim in the front when it starts getting a little long, but you just let the back grow. Business in the front, party in the back. We love it. Speedball Mike Bailey. He's doing it right.
He's doing it right. Yeah.
You could put out an instruction manual on how to do this. Someone else who was not on his list, but I imagine is an honorable mention. How about Dirty Dominic Mysterio?
Oh,
who
yeah.
Here was sampling some pizza-flavored Prime that Logan Paul brought in. I kid you not. Don't have the sound on here, but this is pizza-flavored Prime. Dominic Mysterio, he's going full hipster mullet here as he wears the hat indoors during warm weather. He's saying, toss that garbage. Logan Paul went on to give samples of this also to Liv Morgan, the pizza-flavored Prime. It turned out to be an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
However, this was a very, well-produced April Fool's joke because over on Instagram, they did this whole thing, him and KSI, where they're talking about making a real pizza-flavored Prime. Putting it in the blender. There it is. Some pizza-flavored Prime. How do you like it, sir? There you go. It's delicious. It turned him into a pizza. They went all out for this April Fool's little get up here. Good stuff. Having a little fun.
I liked the way that Dirty Dom was like, no, this sucks. Like, he's just being himself. He's like, no, this isn't good. But Liv Morgan, probably thinking that she's doing Spawn, right? She's like, oh, it's just tomato sauce. It's a little pizza bevy, not realizing it's a fake product.
It tastes like pizza water. Honestly, it's not bad for like a pizza bevy.
They've got those other terrible drinks like the C4 or even the regular Primes, which if you've had any, they kind of taste like medicine. So even the Prime, and they drink those and they have to pretend they're good. So she probably just thought, oh, this is just one of those things I have to do to pretend that this is good.
This is a spot. She wore the women's version of the tank top undershirt there that Logan Paul is. I wonder if everybody who got to taste the Prime Pizza beverage also got a tank top undershirt there.
I wonder too. Like, my one theory here was that Liv Morgan just is being she just has to say things are good as a wrestler, and they're giving it to her. It's all the sponsorship thing. But what also could be happening is we know Liv Morgan, she likes to smoke weed. Yeah. So maybe she's stoned up and she's just like, oh, this is kind of creative. I can get into this, man, And she's just stoned.
I
That's
love the honest reaction there when she smells it. Like, once you give that reaction, you can say whatever nice things about the product you want. Like, that initial smell test did not lie.
yes. She
Like,
tried to save it, but she's like,
she tried to save it like it's not bad for a pizza beverage. How many pizza beverages is this competing with?
it's not bad for. It's one of my favorite pizza beverages,
It's
right?
in my top 10 of pizza flavored beverages. It's in my top 10 of hot dog water beverages. There it is. There. So very good. The WWE folks having a little fun during April Fool's Week. Pizza flavored Prime. It's pathologically frugal. It's unseasonably warm. What is pizza flavored Prime and our segment, John?
Dom, this is cheap heat.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's cheap heat.
That's our show for Don't Bury the Lead Day.
But we got one more segment.
We do.
Let's find the old Italian goodbye. So, as you may know, everyone, this is the Italian goodbye. We'll sit around and, initially shows will end, right? You just say goodbye. All right, thanks for joining. Blah, blah, blah. But we'll drag this one out a little bit. I have a chat that came through, and you can kind of.
Very good.
Let me try this too. If I go like this, and then I go like this, do you see the chats now, Dom?
I see them whenever you put them up on the screen for everybody to see them.
Okay, how about now? Because I had it like this.
If I go full screen, then yes, I can see the chats.
Okay, I'm gonna step away. So just in case someone,
I will go full screen so that I can read your screen, sharing it with me. Oddly enough, Liv Morgan said she liked the Pizza Prime. She was trying. She was trying. She's an Italian from Jersey, so if anybody would know a pizza beverage, it would be the Italian from Jersey.
Oh, that makes it worse, doesn't it? Because she's
Right,
Italian from New Jersey.
I mean, she's got the best pizza in the world up here in New Jersey, and someone's handing her a pizza-flavored, garbage chemical-filled beverage.
Right. I'll be right back.
There you go. WWE NXT creative team should get Trish Stratus in there too. Trish was another person who, in her cameo, she's looked great. You wonder how enthusiastic some of these figures are about stepping into a full-time developmental role. It's one thing to be asked every now and then to share some of your knowledge with people. It's got to be another thing to take on a full-time role with the WWE. Grind it out however many days a week, however many days a year, and constantly be working with new talent, some of whom, are going to be at vastly different levels of ability and of experience. So there's a lot of people who have a lot to share. It's a matter of whether or not you want to turn the amount of knowledge that you have to share into a full-time job and want to really make it a job. There we go. Some of the great wrestlers. Let's throw out some names there. Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments. Who are some of the veteran women wrestlers who you think would have a lot to share with up-and-coming talent? Natalya, obviously. We've got another vote in here for Trish Stratus. Who else do you think would have a lot to share? Gail Kim, obviously, one of the people who created women's wrestling as not a lingerie diva sideshow, but as real women's wrestling and athleticism in the 2000s. So Gail Kim definitely has lots to share with people, and as indicated by taking that full-time job in creative with TNA, that she's willing to make it a job. If she's still willing to do that, I hope someone picks up Gail Kim. Lita, okay. Do you think maybe Lita has a lot to share there? I'm thinking Mickie James, wife of Nick Aldis, real life wife of Nick Aldis. Mickie James might have a lot to share with people. So a lot of the stars that we're used to, I think, Asuka's in her 40s coming off an injury. If she's ready to hang him up, I mean, I can't imagine anybody being a better trainer, in that Natalya rung than perhaps Asuka if she's willing to do it. I mean, Asuka seems like she'd have a wealth of knowledge to share with people about wrestling, about charisma. Even though she doesn't speak English, she gets over with the English-speaking crowds just because of how she acts in the ring, her movements, how she plays to the crowd at different times, how she wrestles, not only coming off the ropes, but holds, reversals, submission wrestling, taking bumps, wrestling through injuries, wrestling a great match when you're not at 100%. Yeah, I think Asuka would have a lot to share with people. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if Asuka will hang up her boots just yet. She's kept herself in great shape. If she can come back from this latest injury, I'd like to see an Asuka match. Mina Shirakawa mentioned Asuka as a dream match for her. I don't know where they'd be able to do that, but, any Asuka match is a dream match for me as a fan because it means we're getting another Asuka match.
Yeah. Do we know when she'd make it back?
We do not know. I mean, Charlotte Flair was out for longer than expected with her injury rehabbing.
Yeah, that's true. We did a bunch of updates on Charlotte, and she was
Yep.
just never coming back.
She was gone for, I think, more than a full calendar year. She got hurt in December of one year and didn't make it back until Royal Rumble of this year. So it was, I think she missed all of 2024. It's like a baseball pitcher getting Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Like you miss a full season.
I appreciate you, Dom, fixing the cheap heat, like arranging it in a way that I can take our faces and drop them in. That should look cool. It looks like it's going to fit perfect.
I shared my entire screen and made my desktop background the exact same hexadecimal color as our regular background anyway. So it's all blending in.
So when I cut it down, it should look good.
Yeah, you can do whatever. Yeah, I thought it looked good today too as I sent that over. A little experiment. So we will do that for future episodes of Don't Bury the Lead Day. For future celebrations of the latest, greatest holiday here. Don't Bury the Lead Day.
We're just going to steal it.
Have you gotten your kid-size fireballs yet for Don't Bury the Lead Day? Get your mullet, get your kid-sized Halloween trick-or-treat size of fireball whiskey and celebrate Don't Bury the Lead Day with us.
Let's do it. Don't Bury the Lead Day. Subscribe. That's a short.
What else do we have here that you wanted to show? I can see the chat, by the way, when I go full screen, even if you don't put it up on the scrent. So I can just see it as a separate window. Yeah, I can still see it as a separate window in the full screen desktop panel here, just for Restream that we use here when we
so you could always see these chats.
I can if I go full screen with them. I usually have it as a tiny window, though, just, our faces, just to make sure I'm on camera. But yeah, I can do this from now on. And yeah, I think with my new setup here in the home office, now I can go full screen from now on.
Do you have the option to click one of the things and bring them up?
Let's see. No, you are still at the producer's controls and director's controls, but I can see them. I have the full visual. It's a separate side panel just going down the right-hand rail. And I can scroll all the way down to the first one since we've gotten so many at this point.
Oh,
there you go.
I just turned something on. Guests can control all presentations.
Guests can control all presentations. Wow, I don't know what that means. I do not have an ability to click on any of the chats and do anything with them.
Okay.
Do not give me extra power. I do not need that. I'm trying to quit. My doctor says I should cut back. So I will do the ghetto Mike Bailey speedball mullet version of high tech when I just do my screen share for cheap heat. You are doing the real work there with the controls. Very good. Lots of chats today. The Fixer, thank you. Cookie Monster and Dynamite, thank you as well for jumping in there. I like the name too, Cookie Monster and Dynamite.
Yeah.
Is that a wrestling allusion to AEW Dynamite, or is the Cookie Monster chowing down on some Dynamite cookies?
The world may never know, because I believe that chatter left a little earlier. So Cookie Monster and Dynamite, good question, but you were gone.
If you are watching the replay, Cookie Monster and Dynamite, please let us, if you can, let us in on some of the handle backstory there. Cookie Monster and Dynamite. The Fixer, obviously, he's the guy who fixes things.
Yeah, the Fixer. What does the name mean? Is it because you fix things?
I mean, that's clear. I remember one time I was working with a charitable group, and we were trying to get use of a meat slicer because we were going to be putting together sandwiches for to give out to the needy. And like someone actually asked us, well, what do you need a meat slicer for? And I remember just looking right at the guy and going, to slice meat. Like it's in the name. Like they named it very, very well. Meat slicer, you slice meat. The Fixer, what does he do? He fixes. The Fixer fixes things.
Why do you need a meat slicer?
To slice meat. Well, what are you going to do with a meat slicer? Slice meat.
All right. Well, Dom, I think it's time, as we're moseying on down to the Italian goodbye here. I think I'm gonna call it a night. So
this has been a 7-star Don't Bury the Lead Day celebration.
It's a name from the OG series from 1984.
Wow! Is it, when you say OGV, is that the V for Vendetta series? The Vendetta, the Fixer. Wow. Okay. The V for Vendetta. Maybe is that the? I'm guessing that's V for Vendetta related. Okay, the Fixer. Now we got to. Well, I still think you can fix stuff, Fixer.
It's both, right? You can. If we have any issues, like with my toilet, like, or I don't know, if I have something with my dishwasher, I'll ask you still, because I'm assuming
ask the Fixer fixes stuff. What is the Fixer? He fixes stuff. Like our show is well. No, the Sci-Fi series V. Okay, thank you for the clarification there. Very good. It's like our show is well named. Don't bury the lead. Well, what do you guys do? We don't bury the lead.
We don't bury the lead.
That's what we do. We don't bury the lead. We start right away with the lead. It's the first segment. It's called the lead. We don't bury it.
I had to call it a wrestling channel, because I just called it Don't Bury the Lead, and I was doing all this stuff on YouTube and how to get like found and stuff like that. It's like you got to put wrestling in the name, because no one's gonna know it's a wrestling channel. It just says Don't Bury the Lead. I think you're like a marketing channel.
I think it has worked out well.
Yes, it has. And you know what, Dom? It has worked out well. Just as we exit here, I see we have a person on Twitch. Come visit us on YouTube. That's where all of our footage lives. So all of our stuff, all of our shorts, all of our shorter videos, these live streams, we will release full videos for Cheap Heat and full videos for SmackDown recaps, and then also usually the pay-per-view recaps. We're also going to make a prediction video, so look out for that. The predictions will be involved, as well as what we're looking forward to, all in one show. So it's an interesting format, and it's always a lot of fun. So go ahead, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button as we're leaving here. Dom, thanks so much for your time tonight. It was a really fun show.
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for your time, Dom. thanks for the Fixer, Cookie Monster, for your contributions, and then people that have been on and just been quiet. That's okay too. So, thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening.